Hello guys, this is question number 5, strategic management, chapter number 1, and the question is about the challenges faced by the government company while adopting the strategic approach. So first of all, the question is very simple, strategic approach, whether it is applicable only for commercial institutions or also non-commercial institutions. We have answered that. Yes, it is both applicable for profit-oriented institutions and non-profit oriented institutions. And under the category of non-profit oriented institutions, we have studied that you have charitable institutions, medical there is the hospitals, okay, the orphanages and the public sector undertaking, or you can call that as a governmental institution. So now under this category you have a very important question. The question lies here: how difficult it is to apply the strategic management to a government company. This is very important, or this is very peculiar. Do you know why? Because in a non-profit organization or in a trust or in a hospital or in a school or a college or university or an orphanage, implying that when you want to apply the strategic approach, even though you are a non-profit organization, you still have that autonomous power, that like if you want to add more hospitals, you can add. If you want to discard some hospitals, you can discard. Like you can reinvent, you can diversify, you can change the vision, mission statements, because after all, okay, you are the boss of your kingdom, right? Whether it is a trust, the trust that is running an education institution, the trust that runs a hospital, or the trust that runs old age home, or anything for that matter, you can easily add on new businesses, you can easily add on new services, or you can reduce the services. You have that autonomous power. You can do things on your own. But when it comes to governmental institutions, for example, when an institution is formed under the parliamentary power, or when an institution is directly under the control of government, like Indian Railways or IRCTC or LIC, there are certain public sector undertakings, okay, PSU. Those public sector undertakings do have a management. Of course, they have a management, they have board of directors, everything, and they have really stakeholders, shareholders, everything. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the power of the strategic application, or the chief strategic officer, or that strategic department, how is that a strategic department in the governmental institution and the strategic department in a normal institution differs? I'll tell you what. When it is LIC, okay, or when it is the TNEB or any public sector undertaking or governmental institution that is trying to apply the strategy, you are really bound by a lot of rules, regulations, structures, customizations, boundaries and all that. Why? Because today Elon Musk, that is a Tesla CEO, he has so much of power. Why? Because that empire is entirely built by him. There is no involvement of extraordinary amount of the general public, and he did not start his business in a way. He is not answerable to anyone unless it is for his shareholders or the stakeholders. He doesn't have to answer to anyone. But when it comes to the governmental institution, you cannot act so recklessly. Okay, you are accountable, you are responsible to answer so many of them. Who are they? To whom do you have to answer indicator? Number one, the general public. If something goes wrong with the LIC, then the general public will definitely ask you questions. The journalist, okay, the journalist will ask you. The general media, the media in general will definitely highlight everything under the political race. Okay, and the politicization of the issue. For example, if something happens with the PSU, for example, ONGC, the ONGC has planned to open a new set of ground in a particular district, and that district is basically an agricultural village, or the main occupation of that village is totally dependent on agriculture, and ONGC has eyed a spot on that district to take out the oil or to rig out the oil, then obviously ONGC will be brought under the they will politicize the issue. They will say the agricultural base is being destroyed. ONGC is totally taking the occupation out of the hands of many of the, many of the farmers. Everything that you do will be under the spotlight. So basically, politicians will interfere, media will interfere, journalists will question you from all the angles. Okay, if you are the leading party, and if you see, for example, if you are that public sector undertaking, and if you have done something wrong, for example, Indian Railways, okay, Indian Railways, if there is an accident, then obviously the opponents will come and raise questions on that. What happened? You are accountable. You have to be very transparent. there are so many issues when it comes to the governmental institution. For example, I'll tell you what, there is this Ola is a ride hailing app, right? This Ola ride hailing app was originally, it was a ride hailing app, but later on what it did, it just came out with that Ola electric bikes. How did it change from being just a ride hailing app to Ola electric bike? They just totally diversified from their original business, right? And then they introduced Ola Dash, okay, where they deliver the groceries in a very few hours. And then they introduced this Ola Auto, there is Ola Cars, where buying and selling of second-hand cars were being made. Which means if it is a private organization, or if it is a non-governmental organization, basically, you can diversify your business, you can add on your business, or you can just cut off some businesses which are not doing well, as Ola did recently. They have totally shut down the operations of Ola Dash, and then they have reoriented every resources in the Ola Autos. So here and after, they are not going to sell or buy the second-hand cars in the Ola auto department, that is automobile department. Instead, they are going to reuse or reorient the resources for Ola electric bike. So who in the world is deciding this? Who gave them the power to shut down Ola Dash, or to reorient the resources of Ola auto to the Ola electric bike? Or who gave them the permission to add new businesses like Ola electric bike in the place of ride hailing app? Basically, this non-governmental organization have so much of power. They can build, okay, they can build, they can cut off, they can cut some slack, they can do anything that they want, which means they have this entire autonomous power. But when it comes to the governmental organization, you don't have that. And secondly, whatever you do, it comes under spotlight. Under the spotlight of whom? Under the spotlight of politicians. Politicians will be eyeing on you, whether you're doing right or not, whether the actions that you're performing is right or not, whether whatever you do is right or not, whether it is commercial or not, whether it is the proper direction or not. Politicians will be eyeing on you. And then number two, the media will be having an eagle eye on you. Okay, definitely they are weighing on your actions, whether you are transparent, whether you are accountable, whether you are responsible, whether your actions are precautious in nature. Everything they'll be looking at. And the general public is also very cautious in knowing about whether the public fund that is involved, or the public tax money that is being used or that is being routed into the public sector undertaking, okay, whether they are using it properly or not. So you are answerable to a humpty number of people. Okay, basically that is three-dimensional. One is politicians, number two is media, and the three is the general public. Apart from that, there are many stakeholders who are going to question you, which means the CEO of a public sector undertaking don't have that autonomous power. So this is the question. Simply put, the question is, what are all the challenges faced by the governmental organization when they take up the strategic approach? Okay, I'll share the screen with you. The question is, question number 5, read the question, state the challenges faced by the governmental institutions in adopting the strategic approach. Obviously you have challenges. How many challenges do you have? You have 6 challenges. Challenge number 1, the strategic autonomy is less. Obviously, I've told you Elon Musk has all the power in this world. He can buy Twitter, he can buy Sri Lanka, he can sell off Sri Lanka, he can sell off Twitter. He has all the power in this world. But when it comes to the CEO of Indian Railways or CEO of some public sector undertaking, it's not so. A governmental institution is different. You have less strategic autonomy. Point number 2, you have little freedom to alter or redirect the mission or objectives. See, if you have ONGC, it can only rig out oil and sell. That's all it can do. It cannot easily move out into other business spaces where, okay, I'm going to start an IT company. No, it cannot do that. Okay. Simply put, governmental organization, when it was established, the vision statement, objective of starting LIC, or objective of launching the CA Institute, ICAI, or the objective of launching some governmental institutions are being laid and engraved into the launching ceremony. You cannot easily change that. So second challenge is that little freedom do you have to alter or redirect the mission or objectives. You have to go by the missions already engraved into the papers of governmental organization. Point number 3, there is a lot of power control from the legislators and the politicians. Obviously, parliamentarians and the politicians and the general ministers, and from the political firmament, you have lots and lots of pressure from them. Okay, and then you cannot easily diversify. As I've told you, when Ola wanted to enter into Ola electric bike, nobody stopped them, but LIC cannot do that easily. Every change, every diversification, or every add-on or deletion needs a huge protocol or process. So it is like you cannot easily diversify autonomously. Autonomously, you cannot do anything. It requires a huge process, and of course, a fear of media judgment. Whatever you do, you'll be judged. Whatever you do, it will be brought under the sunlight or the spotlight. And then every strategic decision you make, okay, it will definitely be criticized, and it will be the talk of the entire sphere of public, because public are most interested in whatever the public sector undertakings are doing, because they believe that their money is involved with the company, because their tax money is being used there. Whether it is NHAI, there is National Highways Authority of India, it is a governmental institutions, or it is a how do you call it, it is an authority of India, would mean the tax money is being utilized by that department, right? So that department is accountable for the public. That department is responsible for everything that they do. It has to be in favor of the public, in favor of the country. You cannot do things on your own. It is like that. And the last one, there are a lot of chances of politicization. For example, there is a train accident, okay? When the two trains are, there's a train dash and there is a loss of life, or there is some injury, or there is some loss of property, obviously the opposite party, the opponent leader, will definitely criticize the actions of the present government. Or when there is any problem with the public sector undertaking, automatically the opposite leader or the opponent party will definitely criticize on the leading party, taking that PSU as just a tool of criticizing. That's all. I really want to criticize the ruling party. I don't have anything else, so I use a PSU's wrongdoings or some mistakes. I take that into the spotlight and I just criticize you. So these are the challenges. What are the challenges? Number one, less autonomy. I don't have autonomy at all. Less strategic autonomy. And then I'll just club two things. What are the two things I will club is, you cannot easily alter the mission, which means you cannot easily diversify, okay? Whatever is the original mission, for example, your original mission is to rig oil, that's all. Now you can only do that, you cannot easily diversify. That is what they are trying to tell you, no? So we'll just club the point 2 and 4. What is it? Little freedom do you have to alter the mission, vision, statement, or the objectives. Simply put, you cannot easily diversify. Okay, and then you have three-dimensional pressure. Number one is the politicians or legislators. Number two, the media. Okay, number three is the general public. So how do you club these 3 points? Point number one, like what? Control of legislators and politicians. This is point number one. That is the first dimension. Power control, the first dimension, the politicians and legislator. Number two, it is a fear of media judgments and criticisms for every strategic choices you make. Okay, and then number three, every issue that public sector undertaking has, it will be politicized. So what do we do here? We have three-dimensional power control here. Number one, legislators and politicians. Number two, the fear of media judgment. Number four, we'll call about the number three, there is three-dimensional power. The general public will have a lot of curiosity in your public sector undertakings, strategic choices. So obviously it will be politicized. Okay, so these are the three important things. And then the other two things that we have clubbed is, you cannot easily re-alter anything, so that you cannot diversify. So you have 5, and the last point is, you have less strategic autonomy. So totally we have completed 6 points. It's nothing but the challenges faced by a governmental organization when it comes to what? When it comes to application of the strategic choices or strategic approach. Okay, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Next we'll meet in the question number 6. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Please do subscribe. Okay, don't forget. Please share with your friends too. Bye.